Hi everyone, this is Michael from JamOnBread.io, and today with me there's Daniel from Keyboard Warriors Internet Cafe. Daniel, welcome on our channel.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate the invite. Obviously, seeing how active you are on Twitter and seeing what you've been about. So yeah, excited to jump on and talk all things quick and hear about a bit about what you're up to.
Okay, great. So by the way, it's quick, right? We can call it quick, just for sake of, shortening the
Easy.
sentences.
Everyone knows this is quick anyway, so perfect.
All right, amazing. Let's jump into our 10 questions then, shall we?
Let's do it.
Question number one. Can you give us a 30-second overview of KWIC or Keyboard Warriors Internet Cafe?
Yeah, no problems at all. Well, look, our project's probably built in two parts. I think the first part is the Keyboard Warriors, which is all about that subverting that keyboard warrior stereotype. If you think about like the artwork, it's all based around nostalgic 80s, 90s technology and cartoons and games that we experience with. So the artist, which is Jess Rise, obviously put those 700 traits together to build that collection. And the second part to our project is the Internet Cafe, which is there's two parts to it. There's actually three parts. Number one, it's building our own game on our own website. The second part is building our own launcher, which is allowing other projects to be able to launch their games. And the third part has been able to put our internet cafe in multiple metaverses. So we've already got partnerships with Clay Nation and Boss Cat Rocket Club.
Nice. Great. Now, shall we jump into question number two?
Let's do it.
All right. What utility comes with holding one of the keyboard warriors?
All right. Well, we do have a bit of a slide with it for this. Look, I think the very first part, I think a big part of the utility is that we've actually got a commercial street artist called Jess Wright who's actually put this collection together. Jess Wright's worked with some of the biggest brands all around the world. He's got partnerships with Converse, Disney, you see Sony, you talk about Samsung, all these massive brands that are paying him tens of thousands of dollars to be able to paint his artwork next to their brand. So Jess Wright, he's got close to 30,000 followers on Instagram. He actually owns his own art gallery. He's actually got his own advertising firm, which is all based around like commercial art on brands. That was, if you look at that one, that's actually a collaboration that he did with Converse, which is just down there. I think the very first utility is having an artist who is so well known, who has spent tens of hours, or thousands of hours putting this together. I think the very first part is what I always say is that having someone of that, that stand to be able to put the artwork together. I think that the second part for us, it's Jess Ray actually draws one-of-ones every single month. He draws between 3 to 4 one-of-ones, which we actually airdrop to holders every single month. And that's on a separate policy ID. So that's just again a benefit that we give to our holders. There's exclusive content within Quickverse, which holders get different access. There's always a free to play part for anyone, but obviously if you're a holder, you get access to different parts. We have our quick token staking rewards, which is in the next sort of 3 to 4 weeks, which is going to be going live, which you're going to get an allocation for those tokens. Anyone that's holding a OG KWIC NFT is actually going to get a legendary NFT airdrop, which is going to be a Quickverse game function item, which we haven't talked about. We haven't announced what it is, but you're going to get a free airdrop. And then also, if by holding KWIC NFTs, that will actually, you need to have 2 KWIC NFTs, which is then going to allow you to be able to mint the playable avatar, which we've got coming up. But also, something that's not on here, our very first launchpad partner, which is Mogakong's, the first 500 KWIC holders that went into that Discord got an automatic whitelist to be able to mint too. So again, like it's just, we're always looking for different parts and different ways of.
Nice.
really rewarding sort of people that have come through the journey. And look, we've got a whole bunch of non-custodial staking rewards from a whole bunch of different partnership projects. There's now 6 partnership projects which you can jump to Discord, and just by being a KWIC holder, you can stake non-custodially to get those benefits too.
All right, all right. So basically, all those benefits unlock as long as you hold 2 KWIC NFTs.
Most of these are one. There's a couple that there's 2.
Okay, okay, got it. All right, nice to hear. Then, cool. There's a lot of utility packed in just 1 or 2 NFTs. Nice. Now, let's move on to the next question. What is the team behind the keyboard warriors?
Yeah, we've got like quite a diverse team of behind keyboard warriors. So probably give a bit of an insight into, might talk a bit about like how the journey started and how we got to this point, probably, and then I'll probably talk a bit about how all the founders sort of came about. So look,
Sure,
my
or you know
background is
what?
that
Maybe because I jumped the question. Let's look at the first. How did you come up with the idea? That
oh yeah,
make
cool,
more sense
perfect.
before we introduce the team.
Yeah, awesome. So how did we come up with the idea? So look, my background is a graffiti artist, something that I was super passionate about. I was doing lots of different things with government, small business. I was getting paid to do it, but not a huge amount, not enough for me to move out of my parents' house. So I think at some point people are going, hey, you need to go get a real job. So I went and got a real job. That didn't last too long. I got fired from sleeping on the toilet. I probably knew at that point that maybe I was wired differently than most people. I thought, maybe I need to go do something for myself. So I went and started my own business, and that business was able to expand across Australia. I was able to move in international markets. I was able to sell that company at a very young age, and then I was able to then open up 2 more businesses. And I wrote a book called "Shit Happens Then Rainbows," which I sort of talked about all the ins and outs of how entrepreneurship probably molded me, and how entrepreneurship probably got me thinking quite differently about different challenges and different things that happened in my life. So when I look back to all the really shit things that happened in my life, and become quite grateful, because a lot of those really shit things turned into like really good things, but I didn't see those good things until 10 or 15 years later. So probably at that time, I probably, I've achieved a lot of personal success. I was probably thinking like what's next? And, I guess at the same time, I got into crypto quite early. I bought a whole bunch of crypto. As much as I love the idea of a decentralization, like I guess I probably was looking to do something with my crypto. And NFTs came about. And I just automatically fell in love with the art piece of it. I become a avid collector. I started on Ethereum. Tell everyone that was my first love. And then I had a late night fling with Solana. And then I ended up marrying to Cardano. So I come onto Cardano, and I think like the community for me just sort of really sort of, and the smallness part of it, and the community, I just fell in love with it. Jedson, one of the other founders, actually got me into Cardano. And I guess there's probably 3 things that's kept coming up with all my NFTs that I was getting. Number one, it was, I don't know if a lot of the projects that I was supporting maybe had the funds to be able to back their ideas. I think the second part is that even if they had the funds, did they really know how to execute the ideas? Like, did they have the know-how how to execute? And the third part is that how many people actually had real life business skills to be able to not only be able to like back it, but also make sure that everything gets executed. I think they were the same things that came up. I think the itch came in, and I probably at that point going, you know what, like I want to have my own project. It sort of felt like it was meant to be. Like it was, I look at like where my life started when I was 15, and then talk about the artwork and talk about like, the nostalgia, which I love. And then it's sort of, I think NFTs sort of found me. And I was obviously Jess Rye, who's done incredible things. I met Jess Rye. He worked in my company when he was 17, and I've seen him have pretty incredible career where not only was able to do lots of really big murals, but he was talking to me during lockdown. He said, look, like I wasn't able to do much artwork during lockdown other than just draw. And he came up with this whole Keyboard Warriors nostalgic idea. And I've always loved his artwork. And I saw it initially, I was like, this needs to be an NFT. Like he's just so unique. So I said and these are some of his collaborations. You can see the Adidas one, you can see Dell there, you can see the Converse one. If you scroll back up the videos, I think you think just went past it, you just go up a little bit more. Yeah, those videos there, like that's the Converse, the Adidas, and the Dell partnerships that he's done, which are all like massive. You see his artwork, you just instantly fall in love. It's just he's so unique. So I spoke to Jess. I was like, hey, we need to do an NFT project. Like you've got something to offer. He goes, got an idea, told me about the idea. And I've known Jedson for many years. And I think probably like we had a good balance because Jess Rye is like an incredible artist, right? I'm obviously got a lot of experience in business and growing business. And Jedson actually was an operations manager for a large construction company, but he's got quite a good technical knowledge. Plus he has like a really good operational and putting processes in place. So between us, we've actually got great experience because Jess Rye comes up with all the art direction, the game, the character development. Jedson works with the game. He works with like the devs. He works with, writes all the articles and does a lot of the staking. He was speaking to the economists about the staking part. He was writing the white paper or the quick token paper. He writes the quick live paper, does all the real technical work, and then I guess I probably work on everything else, the partnerships, the media, putting the strategy in place, like using all my experiences and stuff that I've built to be able to help execute ideas. So the team is actually the founder team is quite diverse in our skill set. But if you keep scrolling down, like if you think about like we've obviously got a whole bunch of like moderators. We've got a whole bunch of 3D developers to artists and animators to graphic designers and video editors to voxel artists to content creators to web designers, developers. Like we're working with Avatar Nick, which you would have seen, who's CTO of Ape Society, who's doing all of our smart contract work. We have a pretty stacked team of people with very diverse and big backgrounds. I'm pretty confident the team, including the founders, is probably close to 20. And with a lot of people working on this, like pretty close to full time, if not like, the hours they put in is probably
cool
testament to like how much time they put in. So there's a big team supporting the weight of this. There is obviously pretty big running costs with running a big team of developers, as you probably know what developers cost. But I guess we're probably pretty fortunate that we've all founders have been pretty successful in the everyday life. That I say this to everyone is that we're pretty lucky that we're probably got the funds to be able to fund this for for a long time.
Awesome. All right. Thanks a lot for the overview of the team and your background and how did you come up with the idea and about you three musketeers, D-Tongs, Jedson, and Jess Rye. Nice. All right. Let's jump into the next question we have. What was the greatest obstacle?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? Like I think like probably the big thing with Web3 being an obstacle is it is 24/7. Like it's all day, every day. It doesn't stop. If people ask a question today, like well, I guess right now they're expecting an answer within 2 minutes, and 24 hours, 7 days a week. So we've had to build like an international team, and even just our moderator, like all our moderators are actually working around the clock. We've got people in America that take on that shift. You've got people in Australia, you've got people in Asia, people in Europe that obviously cover that clock, because at any one time, you just need to make sure that you've got people there ready to answer questions and able to, to be able to support. But as founders, like, you just find that, look, like, this is 9:30 at night, right? I'm doing this. We started this conversation 9:30. I think it's now 10:30. We've been speaking for an hour. Like, it's very normal for me to get up at 3 a.m. to jump on a space, or jumping on Sundays. Like, I think the 24 hours, 7 days a week is obviously quite challenging to be able to run. I think the other obstacle is it's all the unknowns, right? Like, it's everything that you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. Like, you don't know what it's like being a founder. You don't know what it's like building a game for the first time. You don't know what it's like going out there and managing a truly global team. Like, I've got teams in my other businesses that I manage in different parts of the world, but not like where like our 20 people literally are spread across the world on multiple time zones, and they're all people that you need to speak to quite often. So I think those things are probably the two challenges. I know a lot of people sort of talk about the bear market, and everyone sort of talks about the challenges around sort of liquidity and whatever else. Is like, I guess I don't know what it's like when it hasn't been a bear market, because we minted and we're already 7 or 8 months into a bear market, and we minted within a few seconds. Like, I don't know what it's like as a project founder to be in anything other than a bear market. So I can't say that has impacted us in any way. I'd love to say that it has, but look, I think the reality is that, like, I don't know any different. If anything, it's just given us, we have never known any different as founders. So we just keep going, we keep growing, we keep building, we keep just looking at our roadmap and delivering.
Awesome, great. Now let's move on to the next part. What outcomes are you proud of the most?
Oh, look, I think probably the very first outcome is, I know you've probably got I sent you the certificate a little bit earlier, would have been our charity partnership. Yeah. And look, I think that just give everyone a bit of context. Like, there's probably two parts to the characters. You've got the keyboard warriors, who is like, they're like the fun loving, love games, like, are all, they've got good hearts, but maybe just not completely perfect. And then you've got the main antagonists, which are the internet trolls. So our whole philosophy about creating the Quickverse is building like this safe, valued, respectful place for people from all walks of life can feel safe and feel they're aligned with other people that have similar interests. And I think, like, the nostalgic part, like, who doesn't love nostalgia, 80s, 90s nostalgia, all the things that we grew up with. So I think, like, we did a pretty significant donation to Bully Zero, which is all about tackling online bullying. I think probably the one thing with our Discord is that before we even opened the Discord, we actually hired a lot of our moderators, and we did 8 weeks worth of training talking about, like, the type of feel that we wanted people to be able to experience inside our Discord, because our moderators inevitably going to end up moving into and being more customer experience people within inside the Quickverse. So we need people to be able to have the right morals and skill sets to be able to upend our values and what's important for us as a brand. So I think definitely this is a big one. I think the second, look, there's two more. Like, I think number one being not only being able to sell out within seconds, but being the top 50 all-time volume on CNFTs it's pretty incredible. It's probably something that you would always, before mint, you'd be like, hey, I would love to do that. So I think that in itself has been pretty massive. But I think the third part is just like everything that we've done within the game, because when we first came up with the idea, like, all we wanted to do was we wanted to be able to put our internet cafes inside other metaverses. So for us to come to doing that, to then us building our own game, to be able to build our own server, to build our own launcher, to then being able to have multiplayer, to be able to have smart contracts to plug into our game, to be able to have a chat feature, to then be able to build our launcher where other games can come in, like the Ada Inmates, the island, and Mulga Kong's island. Like, I think like that is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Like, I just would have, if you'd asked me when we came up with the concept that this is the situation we'll be in, like I just would have thought this was going to be a dream. To think that where we've been able to go, where we were probably thinking a year and a half later we'll have an internet cafe and other parts to be able to have a better game, a better game that's already live, to be able to have all these partnerships already in. It's pretty incredible. I think probably the last part we're pretty proud of is that we've been able to help another Australian artist called Bolga, been able to put him through the quick launch pad and able to help and steer them in the right direction. And Mulga Kong's, not only that they sell out within seconds, but they're at over $1.2 million in volume, ADA volume, and I think they're in the top 107 or 108 projects of all time in CNFT. And knowing that we've played such a big part with that project, and obviously I'm working really closely. We've worked really closely with the artist and the team to show that we've directly had an impact, and not only have our project had a lot of success in the bear market, and we're still well above mint price. We've been able to do the same thing with another Australian artist, and also well above mint price. And I guess for us, it's not just about the floor price. I don't know if that really says everything, but at the same point, if people still are buying above what they sold for, other people see value in what we're doing and what we're creating. I think that part is like pretty incredible, that you always in the back of your mind want people to be able to see what you see, but end of the day, everyone sees something different. So yeah.
All right. That sounds great. Like, yeah, we discussed it before the interview itself, that you are pretty well connected, and there's a lot of projects you are not only partnering with, but you are also help alleviate their entry to the NFT and to the Cardano. So that's amazing.
Yeah, 100%. Look, and think like the way Cardano wins and the way that we all win is looking at Web2 talent and how do we get Web2 talent into Web3. Like, we're pretty fortunate that our artist has close to 30,000 followers on Instagram. Mulga has close to 40,000 followers on Instagram. We're talking about just between, and plus with our own sort of following, quick following, talking about like 80,000 followers that we now have across Instagram, across Twitter, that we can get into Web3, which is through our game, through these free play avatars. There's always going to be free aspects for Web2 people. Obviously, there's Web3 aspects for people that are really looking at Web3. But like, how do you get mass adoption? It's like, well, looking at the artists that everyday people love, and then looking at how do you go past the 2D aspect? How do you go past the artworks they paint on the walls and the artworks they paint on TV screens if they're doing collaborations with KWIC, which is one that Mulgra's worked with? How do we get them into these avatars that people can play, they can actually upgrade, they can actually feel, they can be? And I think we can get the masses sort of seeing what Web3 can do and owning people's IP and able to do different things with it. If you wanted to sell it, or if you want to sort of keep it, if you want to be able to do personal things with it, right? Put it on whatever you want to do. Like, it's yours to do. So I think that is, yeah.
I think that is nicely linking to our next question, which is what can we look forward to in the next 12 months, in the next year? What is coming up for the audience?
Can you please jump onto that roadmap? If you go back onto the Keyboard Warriors one, if you scroll down, or scroll up maybe, down maybe. Saw it there before. There. So look, this is our phase 2 roadmap. So right now, if you go into the quickverse.io beta game right now, you can go into Roadmap Station, actually have a look at all these from a virtual point to be able to run around and actually go through and have a look. I think that the exciting things that we're looking forward to for the next 12 months is the very the very first part is that it's the continuation and the build out and the rollout of Quickverse. So thinking about what's going to be happening with Quickverse, number one, it's going to be like an MMORPG game, which is already right now. There's 5 characters that you can play around. At the moment, it's only one section that's open, which is the Quick Junction, where it's the internet cafe. You're going to be able to, you can go into the internet cafe. Over the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to be opening up V2, which is still in beta, but that means that there's going to be multiplayer, which means multiple people are going to be able to be in the game at the same time. They'll be able to choose those 5 characters. They're going to be able to run around. They'll be able to engage yourself. We're going to have a world chat feature for people to be able to talk. And we want to build this social space that people can be their sort of favorite sort of NFTs, and then inevitably build out these fun games. Because what I loved about nostalgia was playing games with my brother at home. Like, I think that was some of my funnest moments, and it was when I felt the most free. But obviously, we're going to be building out sort of Web3 functionalities, and there's going to be play to earn aspects to it to like engage like all different types of people. But I think staying true to our core, which is the fun aspect, and always putting that part first, when obviously then looking at other ways to engage multiple audiences through those Web3 sort of play to earn aspects. So that's probably the first part, which is the continuation of the game, where I think the big part with the game, it's going to be opening up these other sections. So if you think about the story mode is going to be like it's like an individual sort of player mode where you're going to be able to follow sort of a whole bunch of different scenes to be able to do a whole bunch of different parts, to go through different scenarios. If you scroll down just a little bit, you'll be able to see there's the arcade, which is our arcade is going to open up the gaming aspect, which is there's fun games. There's also sort of play to earn games that are going to be coming in the arcade. Plus, we've got Collab City, which is where other projects can plug into our Quickverse, where they'll be able to have their own sort of up front to be able to brand themselves. Plus, they're going to be able to have their own avatars within Quickverse. So if you've got your favorite PFP NFTs, we can bring them to life and be able to plug them into the Quickverse. So I think the continuation, the building out of that is going to be pretty, I guess, on the forefront of our next 12 months. I think the second part is that if you look at the roadmap, like we're going to be building out and doing the next mint, which is going to be our 3D playable avatars. So the playable avatar mint is going to be pretty massive. We've got 15 different factions. So we're building out 15 different heads, and then we've got all these different bodies for them. So the NFT in itself is going to be quite plain. But what's going to be happening is that you're going to be able to connect your NFT. You're going to be able to connect your wallet to the Quickverse. You're going to be able to then run around with your NFT inside the game. You're then going to be able to use the Quick token that you've been staking your OG NFT to then grade your wearable. You can get shirts and shoes and weapons and clothes and different things to be able to build your avatar based on how you feel and what you like. And we're doing that mint on SIP68, which is going to mean that if you want to, you can obviously, if you choose to, you can just leave your avatar as how it looked inside the game, or you can obviously then remint the clothes onto your avatar, and your avatar then will look like that on the blockchain, right? So that's pretty exciting. We're pretty looking pretty forward to be able to unleash that. There's obviously a whole bunch of different things that come with that. We're going to open up our inventory where there's going to be a whole bunch of different items. There's a use case for the Quick token. It's not just, hey, let's have a token for the sake of having a token. Like, you're going to be able to use it, and we're going to be able to create a real economy inside the game for people to be able to have use cases for that token. I think the third part, I think that we're really looking forward to is the Howdy partner part, which is there's two types of partnerships like that we're obviously we're forming with different projects, not just within Cardano, but from outside. I think the partnership number one is going, hey, maybe you just want to have your avatar, a free-to-play avatar inside that game, and then maybe just want to have a shop front. That's number one. Or number two, maybe you have an idea like an ADA mates where only you've got this idea with you want to get your own token, you got this whole idea around cells and your own sort of ecosystem that you want to help support building. So we built all the infrastructure to be able to allow maybe people have already got a game, but they don't have a place to host it. Maybe people want to be able to get avatars and their own sort of world created, which we can obviously help do that and then get it through and get it live on our launchpad. So that's obviously going to be a pretty big next 12 months. Look, as you can know, just if I just talk about those things alone, that's going to keep us pretty busy for the next 12 months.
Yeah.
And we've already got.
Yeah, you've already said it.
Yeah,
we've got a lot coming for in the next 12 months. I think that we will do like more in-depth interview in this case.
100%. And look, we've already got two partners live, like we're Mulgakongs, and we've already got like ADA Mates where that's live. That's happening. It's going to get rolled out. But we've already, in the last 3 days, we've already had 2 projects send through like briefs of what they want to build. And we haven't even started marketing yet. We haven't even started talking about like what we're doing because we've been spent the last year building the infrastructure and the foundation. We're now like having those conversations because the team's at the point where they can obviously execute on all the ideas. But like in the next 4 to 8 weeks, you're probably going to see you will start seeing a lot more with what's actually happening in our ecosystem.
Great. Thank you for your answers. Now let's move on to the next question. Are you hiring? Because you've got a lot of coming for you. So are you hiring? Do you need any help?
Look, I love that question, and I know we spoke about this offline. And look, we are always hiring. Like I was saying to you before, is that we've probably made one important hire each month already this year, where we've hired 3D artists, we've hired people that are like more specific around sort of building environments. We've actually just had a new moderator start this week. Look, we're constantly hiring. I guess if there's any 2 immediate hires, like if you're a 3D artist and you've got experience building on Unity and or working on sort of Unreal or even just got Blender sort of experience, we are looking for more 3D artists. And look, if you're a blockchain developer and you've got experience with smart contracts, yes, we are always looking for people that can obviously help within that space. But look, good people are hard to find, so we are always open to speaking to good people.
Great, thanks. Now we are coming towards the end, and we've got last 2 questions. First one, question number 9. Could you tell us something personal?
Look, I love talking about like things that happen because I think it's what shapes me. Probably the very first part is that actually I'm gonna talk about a couple of things because it would all lead on to the same point. Like I wrote a book called Shit Happens in Rainbows, and if I think about that book and think about what happened, I was like, well, at the start of the book it starts off telling everyone like I got fired from sleeping on the toilet. So if you scroll down, you can actually see the book right there. See my my younger self. So at the start of the book, I talk about getting fired from sleeping on the toilet, and I remember thinking at the time, like, what is wrong with me? Like, how does anyone get fired from sleeping on the toilet? And I remember going home, and I was in a pretty well-paid job, thinking like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm just unsure what I'm going to do. And I think looking back, and I talk about a lot, shit happens in rainbow as well. Maybe not so literal, but like me getting fired from sleeping in the toilet, like I wouldn't be on this call today. Because if I don't get fired from sleeping in the toilet, I probably just end up in my job. And I think that if I trace back to every really, really bad thing that's happened to me, sorry, my light just literally turned off. If I trace back to every really bad thing that's happened to me, I can actually also say that was the direct result of something really, really amazing. So yeah, like I think I look back and just and look at all the real challenging times and just sort of thankful where it is. Probably the other thing is that I was a graffiti artist before I was anything. So I'm gonna actually show you one of my artworks. I'm currently in my bat cave, I guess you could call it. I'm gonna take the blur off the filter.
Yeah.
But I'm all right. This is my so these are all my murals and a collage that I created from all the works that I did when I was from 15 through to 21. So I was a graffiti artist. It was sort of something that I really loved. So if you look at that mural, I was actually not too bad, to be fair. So
yeah, by the way,
not too bad at all.
could you send us a picture later so we can edit it into the video?
Yeah, great. Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Okay, great. Now that was about Danielle, and now we've got final suggestion for the audience.
Yeah, look, I think for me, like I love NFTs because I think the use case that it provides, as much as blockchain and what it's been able to do, that sort of gave me the foot in the door. I think like NFTs is enable us to give us a use case. Like it beyond PFPs, it's gaming, it's the metaverse or what you can do with games and the experiences and I'm just quite excited about the future of NFTs. Like we know like what's going to be happening in 10 to 20 years because people want to be able to not only have online assets, people want to be able to own those online assets, right? Like they want to be able to have it recorded. They want to be able to, be able to do different things with them, and they want to be able to like build out and have different experience with their own IPs. So like, I'm big on NFTs, and I'm a massive, massive fan. So that's my final thoughts.
Cool. I think we have the same mindset. Of course, we are because like we are building an infrastructure so that new people can be on board it and they can trade, between one another. And so yeah, we believe in the same values, and I would have given the same final suggestion for the audience. I think it's
nice.
good to be there now in the beginning because I also believe there's a great future in the next 10, 20 years, and everything is gonna get more digital, and just like the digital ownership. It's probably not going to be just NFTs. It's probably going to get, way, beyond our scope of imagination. And we don't know what is it going to be yet. So that's exciting about it. Like you never know what is coming up in the next 24 months. So it is really exciting to build in this moment.
No, I agree. 100% agree. And look, I appreciate the conversation. Like, been really good to be able to talk all things quick and get understand about your philosophies.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Danielle, for coming on our channel. And we are going to talk again sometime, let's say by the end of the year, and see where has the journey taken you and whether your roadmap has been fulfilled and what else have you built at the time.
Yeah, I think the roadmap for us, the roadmap for us is not a goal. It's already done. There's already budget, there's already teams allocated to each one. So the roadmap, it's not even about an if, it's more about, hey, it's more of a when. So the whole roadmap is designed to be done well before the end of the year.
Awesome. Okay, thank you very much for your time, and we're gonna catch up later towards the end of the year. Have a great day.
Fantastic.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Michael.